about the play, just to place it for you. It's a 4-character play, and it's set in a lighthouse keeper's cottage at Eden, New South Wales, far south coast. This is a play about the nature of memory and whose version of the past is the most reliable. It's powerful, emotive, challenging. Eden is an engrossing, entertaining, and edge-of-your-seat drama that's designed to provoke public debate and contemplation well beyond the theatre. And here is our playwright.
Sounds good. Can I go now? One of the reasons I am not an actor is I got thrown out of my school play for being so nervous. So forgive me if I betray those nerves.
All of us. So I'm a director.
My name's Daniel Scott. I'm the writer of Eden. If you've heard my name at all, it would be in the realm of travel writing. I was a travel writer for most of my writing career up till now. The Sydney Morning Herald and the Melbourne Age. My first love, however, was playwriting, and Eden is my 7th play, which I've rewritten extensively for this production, and I'm no doubt whatsoever will be lots more movement in the script during the rehearsal process. So I've only been in Newcastle now for a year, so the reason I moved to Newcastle in early 2021 was to get to a place where there was culture, really. I lived on the mid-north coast, beautiful place, near Foster-Tuncurry, but for me as a writer, not much going on, to be fair. And I couldn't have imagined being here tonight, a year later, 12 months later, here at Newcastle Theatre Company at the launch of the Indie season and being part of that. It feels like I'm really landed in the cultural centre of Newcastle.
Yes. Okay, so good. Why did you write Eden?
So my plays generally are about social issues. They tend to be, I take a theme such as domestic violence, which is the theme of my most produced play Below the Bell, which has been on around the world luckily, or grief. And I try to make that theme accessible in a theatrical space, not just in terms of drama and so forth, but with humour, because these issues happen in human life. We are not all just our grief or our domestic violent relationship, or in this case, our repressed memories. We are so many other things. We have to have humour as an audience to actually tackle the subject. And as a writer, I couldn't sit there and write about this repressed memory that I wanted to write about without a great deal of theatricality coming to mind and a great deal of humour, because it just wouldn't have been possible to sit there. It would have been too gruelling. And of course I don't want my audience to sit there feeling, this is so gruelling, I want to go home and watch, I Must Nobody Get Me Out of Here. Because that's the alternative, we know that. But look at us, we're here, live theatre, and please God that it stays that way. And in June and July, when Eden is on, and throughout the year, I don't mean just my play, obviously, we get audiences to come into the live theatre space. It's so exciting, it's so much better than sitting in front of, it's so much more, the audience is so much part of what goes on.
Well, with you.
Right, yeah.
So, what attracted you to the subject matter in the first place?
Yeah, thorny subject really. I mean, look, to be very honest with you, I have to be honest, because that's the basis of all good writing, I believe. I myself had my own battle with childhood trauma, and I had recurring physical, mental and emotional symptoms of that trauma. And so I went on a journey to actually find out, explore what it was, because I really had no idea. And so the central character in this play does the same, and she does a lot of the things that I did in the process of uncovering my own trauma. And so that was the starting point for writing the play.
Mm. So, are the characters, apart from yourself, all the others, based on real people?
Well, I should say I'm not really in the play at all. I mean, I've actually taken the journey that I took, and I've applied that to the character. And all the characters in some form or another are taken. Look, any playwright might say to you, "Oh no, completely made up." Well, they're talking rubbish. The reality is we do take, I think anyway, we do take bits and pieces of everyone that we meet. And in my case, we've got two very strong female characters in this play. I've had a lot of very good, strong friends who are female, and obviously relationships as well. My sister as well went through quite a lot of what Carla, the central character, goes through. So I've taken bits and pieces from each of the people I've met in my life and turned them into an amalgam character in Carla and in Ginny as well. In terms of Luigi, the father figure, I'm only recently, well, I say recently, God, it's 14 years. I have a 14 and a 12-year-old daughter, so it's not recent at all, really, but it sometimes feels like it, because parenting is an absolute journey, wherever you start it, whatever period of your life. It's so challenging at times, and at the moment with a teenage daughter, at the moment, I'm having a really, really difficult time. So I'm sure that plays out in Luigi, the character of the father as well. And finally Tom, the character who is based on actually directly based on a friend who was a stuntman in the film industry, who told me a story about one day him having to go off and double for a female stunt double who broke her arm, and falling down a stair, and then coming home still dressed as that female character and surprising his wife when he got home. But Tom is also, I really wanted to look in Tom, the character, at how a character can become a kind of agent provocateur to another character. So he really urges his girlfriend Carla to go on this journey in order to have her forgive her father for what she thinks he did to her. And that's because he has got his own guilty past and he wants to be forgiven himself. So that was the basis of that character.
Okay, what other kind of research have you had to do apart from talking to people you know, etc., etc.?
This is sounding heavy, isn't it?
Well, no, just to ensure the truth of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of fantasy.
Absolutely. I do this in all my plays. I usually spend between 6 months and a year researching a play. The subject matter of a play, and in other plays I've done it with actors, and it's the most joyful process because I'm not the only person actually creating the work. I'm getting feedback from them and I'm getting their research as well, and that certainly happened in the domestic violence play. In this case it was me on my own, but I did interview a lot of psychologists and counsellors and people working in the field of repressed memory and childhood abuse and so forth. And then another book that was really, really influential, or two books really, but You Can Heal Yourself by Louise Hay, and also Bessel van der Kolk wrote a book called The Body Knows the Score, and this was all about how he had worked in the States with Vietnam vets, and the PTSD that they experienced as a result of their experiences. He then saw that as very widespread. And that's what my feeling is here, is that really this is very widespread. There is trauma in most people's lives somewhere, and the more we repress it, the worse it gets.
What do you think is the play's special currency about the Me Too?
Yeah, and this is tricky too, to align oneself as a male playwright with the Me Too movement, with Grace Tame, with all those incredibly courageous women who are out there calling out the abusers in our society, and I mean by that the people in power in our society. All I can say about it as a person is, we're all human, and trauma is, it can be something connecting, and not only connecting but also healing as well. We need to heal collectively, and we need to reconnect, especially now. We're so disconnected because of what's happened. So I feel we have common currency, and I feel very close to Indigenous people. Through my travel writing, I spent a lot of time working with Aboriginal people, and the collective trauma and the intergenerational trauma that they've experienced. I absolutely feel close to that myself.
What are you most looking for in working on this production?
well, apart from working with you, Janet, and just, I mean, what an amazing, look, you know, I saw Bernardo over here, and I saw an incredibly polished piece of work. I saw, you know, a very firm hand in the directing. You have so much experience, but this collective experience of working in rehearsal with actors, a director, and the other creative members of the team, it's priceless for a playwright. You know, I can sit at my computer and write as many plays as I like. I will never learn very much about the process of playwriting until I see my work realised. And I work with actors and directors and the other members of the creative team, all of whom are of huge importance to the product.
It's so seldom, actually, as directors have the opportunity to work with the writers. I'm sure all the directors in the audience will agree. And it can be a bit frightening, because you can, have I interpreted this play properly?
Yeah, because obviously I have my very clear vision of what I see the play.
And mine could be totally different.
Absolutely, but that has happened to me, and it's been great. You know, it's you know, one has to, you know, in theatre is collaborative. You know, if you write for the TV or you write for film, you give your script over, and if you're lucky, you get a check back, and you don't even get a thank you. Off you go. Thanks for the script. We're going to adulterate it now, and then we're going to make our own version of it. You know, the theatre is the great collaborative medium, and it's so exciting as a writer to be involved with it.
I agree. So, why should people come and see Eden then? Why?
I would like to say that you will never forget coming to see Eden. I think I feel like I want to carry on if that's okay.
Yes.
I feel like the subject matter is really important. I think you'll be entertained. I think you'll laugh. I think you'll think a lot during the production and the performances, and I'm sure you'll go out talking about the characters, the drama, what happens on stage, as if it was something that happened in your own family, and that's what I really want to achieve as a writer.
Good. Just to say, if you're interested in auditioning for the 4 characters, 2 men, 2 women, yes, I'll be in the foyer, Daniel will be in the foyer, and Howard will be there with information for each of the characters and for the auditions, etc., etc. So please do approach us, and we'll take it from there.
It's okay to approach me. I've had 36 rapid antigen tests. And I've confirmed I'm a hypochondriac.